To me, enough is enough. They just wanna hurt us. Bring us down. Bring us down. Enough is enough. We won't let them hurt us. Bring us down. Bring us down.
Hey guys, welcome back to Indie Wrestling Corner with another episode of IndyTalks. I'm your host as always, the queen of the Indies, Tiffany, and today, Zach Attack. Zach Attack is back.
Yeah, Zach is back. Second year in a row. Wicked excited to do another year-end roundup with the queen of the Indies.
We're just here. What? It says 2003? Does it really? Oh, shit.
I wasn't in the indie scene yet. I don't know nothing about the 2003 indie scene. If anybody wants to
It doesn't say that. Don't mess with me telling me 2003. I'm thinking that, like, I screwed up my damn layout. I'm thinking that I screwed up my freaking, my titles and stuff like that. He's just here to, like, mess with me in the chat.
I posted the graphics, too, so I feel like even I would have recognized if somehow we had written 2003 on it.
Somebody would have screwed me up here or whatever, So, well, guys, if you're new here to the Indie Wrestling Corner, I cover everything independent wrestling, whether it's wrestlers, promoters, promotions, backstage. I got you covered in indie wrestling going on. So, this is going to be the last stream of 2024 on the Indie Wrestling Corner, pretty much. So, me and Zach had decided that we have to do a wrap up. So I'm sure it's going to be kind of like a wave, pretty much, with talking some indie wrestling, because this year I feel like I've been kind of in and out of indie wrestling with everything going on between me having surgery earlier in the year, McDuff passing, me going into my new apartment and everything like that. So yeah, it's been a pretty crazy roller coaster pretty much here. So, but anyway, for indies, yeah.
You're in wrestling anyway, like you said it, like it's just gonna be like everywhere. Like there's just so much happening all at the same time. It all just kind of becomes just like, all right, here's some stuff, here's some stuff, here's some stuff. A bunch of stuff happened. A lot. Happened.
Wait, let me pause right now, because so we got Graham in the chat that likes to bust my chops and say 2023. No, if you want to watch 2023, watch last year. I'm sure you gave me shit last year. Max, our bestie Max, is in the chat. Hi, bestie. Or should we say that's Sammy Diaz's girl, right? We're claiming her.
That's like the leader of the ride with the. That's the leader of the mob right there. When the song hits,
ride with the mob. Right.
She's in front of that pack, like ready to just throw hands or something. Like
we should just give her an award that she's the Sammy Diaz girl.
You're right.
Yes. So we're presenting this award right now on the Indie Wrestling Corner. You just don't see it. It's kind of like John Cena, pretty much. You can't see it, but it's there. Ethan's in the chat. What's going on, Ethan? What's going on? How's everything with you? Dave's in the chat. He goes, is there a brand new list of... I knew this was going to happen. I knew it. I called it. I knew people were going to come into the chat, give me shit.
You have created quite the stir with this.
I really have. I got to be honest with you. I was talking to Harry about this earlier, and I was like, it's been a very long time since I put out like a real list of husbands. And I think part of the reasons why I haven't is because not everybody's Gangone and Alex Zane, who's all about the husband list. And they play along, and I think I get a little embarrassed. Hey, Sammy Diaz is in the chat.
He's no Joe Hendry, but say his name and he appeared.
He appeared. Seriously, we gave an award, Sammy, to Max, that she's the Sammy Diaz girl. You know, you see, it's right here.
Yeah, she is the leader of the mob.
She's the leader of the mob. So we gave that award, but top 5, pretty much. Damn, we got a lot of people going on.
The top 5, except the top.
Seriously. So I see like a whole bunch of people like, and like they kind of updated how I could see, what's in the chat and stuff like that. But I see on like X, there's like 40 people in the chat and shit like that. So thank you. So make sure you share the stream. Let's get some people in here and stuff like that. So
and obviously, like if there's stuff you specifically want us to maybe put some highlight on, stuff that you maybe want to ask us, leave it in the comments. Tiffany will read it.
Yes.
She's good like that.
I gotcha.
Drop like it. The best in the biz.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so as for the list of husbands, I think also after a while I started getting embarrassed to actually start telling the wrestlers that they're on the list of husbands. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, Anthony Gangone is number 1,
Right.
Alex Zane is still on the husband list. It's just how it is. Adam Priest is on the husband list. We all know that. Bobby Orlando is on the husband list. We're dropping it now. Yeah. We're dropping well, not the actual order. Gangone's number 1. That's it. That's all we need to know.
Guys, are we getting the live ranking?
No, we're not getting like I have to like redo like the list of it, but like I'm just saying who's on the list or whatever. Dante Drago's on the list. I think I put that out there one day. Ricky Smokes is on the list. So I don't know.
This is gonna end up having to be a whole separate stream where you actually do like a tier list.
I have to make graphics.
Like, okay, could you make it on the husband list? And then like you can maybe even throw some shade of like, yeah, you don't qualify this person to never, because these are what makes you not eligible to be on the husband list. So everybody can like know what to strive for.
You gotta put it like, and then the wrestlers come on the podcast and then they plead their case of like, if they're not on the list and like they plead their case, they get like a minute, right, that they could rant on the pod.
Now we're playing Love Island.
Listen, when I first started the other rope series or whatever like that, obviously Anthony Gangone was the first interview that I did, and I got thrown under the bus within 2 minutes of the podcast. That's what started the whole list of husbands. 2 minutes into the podcast, I got thrown under the bus. So every podcast after it, all the wrestlers were like, am I on the husband list? Like, what do you look for in the husband list? Are you an ass person? Are you an abs person? Like, this shit was going on, like, at a whole shitload of podcasts. So if you want to, like, go back. I think I did a special of, like, husbands or whatever in one of the episodes. That's what I probably should do, But, what version of Ricky? I don't know. I've been, like, a Ricky fan for a long time. I don't know. Like, yeah. Zach, do you remember, like, when I put him on the husband list? It's been a while.
I remember, like, what, a year and a half ago, maybe, we built, like, the bracket thing.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he was on it even back then.
Yeah.
So he's been in that conversation for a while. I mean, for very good reason. I mean, look at a guy like Ricky Smokes and tell me, based on credentials and physical specimen alone.
He's the smoke show. I'm a smoke show girl. Whatever. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
Smoking Ricky.
It's funny. Since we're talking about, because it was like indie wrestling anyway, because we were talking as a whole. The other day I put a post out. I went to Joe Cassio's promotion, CEP, on Monday,
yes.
And I haven't seen Gangone in a long time and stuff like that. And I was like, this is perfect. I was like, and this is funny because this is the first time that I was in the same room as Tristan Kyle and Anthony Gangone. So I was like, we have to get a picture. And like the minute I started walking with Tristan Kyle to Gangone, and Gangone goes, what number husband is he? He goes, I'm number 1.
There's a budding rivalry.
I was like, he's not on the husband list. And then like he got all bent out of shape.
Yeah, but he has to realize that he is forever and always future boyfriend. But he can try to fight to get onto the list. You know what I mean? You can give him all the credentials of like, this is what gets you on, and then he can fight Gangone for the right to actually make it on the list.
There has to be a match now. So if you guys didn't see the picture,
gatekeeper of the husband list. If you can beat Gangone, you become like a consideration.
I told Tristan Kyle that because he said to me, which we'll probably get into, we'll talk about bridges and shooting stars because everybody knows that's my life or whatever like that. So actually, Zach was there when we were talking about this at Fight Life, and he's saying, and like, even like, Kylon was like, he's trying to steal my move of like the perfect bridge and everything. And then he goes, I'm going to do a shooting star press into a bridge. And I'm like, I was like, you know what? I was like, the day you do that, I said, is the day that I said I dethrone Gangone and make you number one husband.
And I know, obviously, you said Sammy's here. I'm sure there might be other wrestlers who will hear this. If you can explain to me how you can physically land into a bridge pin out of a shooting star press, for those who can do a shooting star press, please break that psychology down for me, because every time I'm like, no, what are you gonna do? Flip? Right. And then do it, but then you don't have a hook there. And so, like, if there is a practical way to make that work and you know how to do it, please break that for me.
Let me know, like, let me know if you can do it or whatever like that. But
I bet Tristan can watch this back and he'll know what to do.
I'm here for it. I'm trying to see, because it's telling me like that, like we're live on TikTok, but I'm not seeing the freaking thing or whatever like that. But okay, like whatever, So there's like 48 people watching on X, which is pretty freaking cool. So again, make sure you share the stream for me. I like really appreciate that stuff. And yeah. So me and Zach were talking. What was it, the other night? We were talking about people breaking out of the year, whatever like that. I don't even remember. Who the hell did I say last year? I feel like I put so many people over that I forget.
No, right. And like, but for like that specific portion, like if you're talking about like at the end of the podcast, we're like, all right, who's gonna be that person? I don't remember who you specifically said, but it keeps getting thrown at me who I said. And so like, I can't say that the person hasn't had an upward trajectory. DJ Powers has had somewhat of a good trajectory this year, I would say. He's going to wrestle Anthony Green coming up, which will be a big thing for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think a lot of people definitely did make some splashes this year. A guy like Jermaine Marbury, who, he kind of started a little bit late last year, but like this year he has ramped. He's debuted so many places, I swear. I've literally seen him debut in like 3 different places at least this year. Like myself personally, let alone everywhere else he's been going. He was at Creative Pro recently, I remember. So like that's a guy he's doing it. He's doing the grind. He's that guy who's just like, I'm trying to be wherever I can, and he's memorable. He's somebody that people relate to, they gravitate towards, because it's just fun energy. I mean, that's just somebody who immediately comes to my mind if you think of like a breakout, like, oh, look at this person now, please.
Yeah, definitely. Ryan Redfield's in the chat. What's going on? Ryan Redfield.
Uncharted territory.
Yes, definitely. So, but that was last year. That was last year.
They didn't have an Uncharted. Well, that's the most recent Uncharted, but still.
Definitely.
Doesn't change that dude is a great freaking worker.
Hell yeah.
I could still throw some shower on some Ryan Redfield.
Hell yeah. Dave said 5 best bridges of 2024. Oh shit. Well, you already know Kylon King is on the list, It has to be Kylon King.
On Thursday?
The what?
Didn't he just hit the
double bridge? The double with Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylor. Pretty much. I love it. So like he just automatically wins. Bryce is in the chat. What is going on? Chad Spectacular, as everybody like has known him as. So what's going on? I love you too. You need to make a comeback into wrestling too, sir. I'm just saying. We need some love over there. Spike has put on some bridges too.
And honestly, Spike's another one. Like she did the tour in Japan recently, and she's very like early on. So for her to get that opportunity to do that And on top of that, again, everything she's getting from the Neptune and all that, like, she's definitely gonna break out into one of like the like defining women's talents. I think at least in the next couple years.
Absolutely.
Like she's gonna hit her stride, and I think this year's really gonna help solidify that.
Yeah. Oh shit! Everybody's
Platform.
popping in. We got Jumbo Ref going on here. Coach C's in the chat. What is going on? I love it. We're hanging out. I love it. It's so great. He's like,
it brings people together, as dumb and silly and sometimes like negative that this stuff can be. It really is that type of thing that, like, at its core, it really is a beautiful thing, because it brings people that you never thought would come together, and you just create something really great.
Definitely. No, it's so crazy. Wait, who was like top bridges? People have been popping me lately because they've been doing it like Nick Robles with his freaking bridges. Holy cow. So he's definitely on like the top 5.
But you know who I saw who had a pretty one at BST? Vita Von Star.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to throw her name out there because, like, the literal tippy toe that she has is just, wow, okay, thank you.
Yo, Desmond Cole, he even says that if I'm around, he feels obligated that he has to give me a bridge. Like...
And that's the Tiffy influence.
Yo, TK Wild from Creator Pro popped me the other day. He went into the bridge and he made sure, and I'm like, this is not a perfect bridge. He must have heard me, and then the toes went up. I'm like, this motherfucker. I was like, he just popped me.
And that's the thing too, because honestly, like, again, ask Tiffany. Anytime I see a bridge, I'll try to snap it as quick as I can. I send it to her. And I feel like there weren't a lot of, like, really good ones.
Right.
But there were, like, so it's like, kind of gotta, like, we gotta get more toes in the game, because it's a lot of flat footy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's even funnier because, like, now my brother John, he, like, will even send me bridges because we just randomly start yelling bridge all the time in honor of you. And, like, but again, like, it'll be a flat-footed bridge. And I'm like, dang it, John, why'd you send me a crud one? That's not even worth my time right now. You sent me a flat-footed. If it ain't got to, and then him and I were obviously dumb, and we send you pictures of me with my foot on a bridge, and I'm like, oh, look at my bridge with toes.
Jimmy says, you ruined indie wrestling with this. I did.
No, if anything, hold on. How is it ruining indie wrestling when all it's doing is making these guys look like $1 million, that they can do this cool stuff, that they can do this intricate stuff and make it work? Like, all right, the flat foot, we got that. But man, if you can do it with toes now, now you stand out.
Good cop, bad cops in chat. He says Happy New Year's in advance, heading back to the start and trying to catch up. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Slightly offended because, you know, no matter what, I may not be a wrestler. I may not, but, you know, where's my anagram?
He might come up with one now. This layout came out like so good. Like I'm getting like better with like some of these. I feel like this should be like one of my like main things when I do like IndyTalks episodes is, put wrestlers on it. And it was like hard because there's so many people that, you know, like I want to put on the layouts and stuff, and there's only so much room and stuff. So me and Zach had a conversation or whatever like that. So let's talk about Fluffman. Cody Fluffman, because he's on here.
Let's your new favorite obsession, Fluffman.
Fluffman!
It's just so funny how that came about. Because we were watching an action show. Or no, it was the JCW thing. Wasn't it that Rumble?
No, it was action. It was an action show.
Okay, it was an action show. But I'm just like, and like, cause neither one of us had ever like heard of the guy, and it was just after we were having a conversation about Puff.
Yeah.
And then he comes out, and we're like, "What is this?" And you're freaking out, and I'm like, "Is it funny that we really just had a conversation about Puff, and now we got Fluff, and you're Fluff?"
I was sold. I was so obsessed. Zach was like confused, you know, because usually it's like, a lot of people kind of know like the type that I was just obsessed. I was just like, he just came out on Entrance, and I just was like obsessed, and I was like, all I kept saying to Zach, and then I started driving Landon Hale crazy, that I was like, this man needs a cape. That's all I kept saying to Zach, and I would randomly text Landon, and I'm like, this man needs a cape, because you're thinking fluff man and I'm thinking superhero, and that's all. So if you haven't watched the interview with Fluff Man, like, please go back and watch it, because that's how I started the podcast. I was like, when you come out, like, why are you not wearing a cape? So I just like instantly fell in love with him or whatever like that. So when Landon was going down to action, I would like text Landon and be like, Landon, tell Fluff Man I said hi. Meanwhile, this guy, like, at that point in the beginning had no idea who the hell I was. And then I started tweeting it. I'm like, hey, Landon, don't forget to tell Fluff Man I said hi. And then finally they started taking photos together and sending it to me. And then, like, I had him on the pod. And then I drove all the way to Pennsylvania because he was at AXW, one of the shows with Sean Legacy. And I jumped attack Fluff Man, and I brought him a cape. I made him a cape. He needed to wear a cape, and he came out with the cape.
He got her cape.
He got the cape. He needed a cape.
Now he can be super Fluff Man.
Yes, super Fluff Man. Super Fluff. Oh my God, we'll tag him with Ricky Smokes.
Oh my! Oh, dude, he'll be here and Ricky will be up here, and that'll be the pose. Ricky will be like standing behind him or something.
It was great. I love it. It's so funny. Welcome back, Max. Dave says, get Tiff to PG in 2020. I was supposed to come up to PG. You could blame Tristan Kyle for that one. So I was coming. Blame Tristan Kyle for that one, because I was supposed to go up with him and then something changed.
She was supposed to come to Elk Mania and then chaotic thing happened.
So yeah. I'm sorry. I will say amazing things about freaking Tristan Kyle in this episode, I promise, you know. So
if we're gonna talk Proving Ground, obviously our next show,
go for it.
January 18th, the Proving Ground Cup 8-man tournament, one-night tournament, and it's featuring none other than Landon Hale, Top 5 Dead or Alive, Sammy Diaz are going to be in action competing in the tournament. It's a great time. You definitely want to be there, or it will be on IWTV at some point. But obviously, if you want to be there, you want to see it, you want to be in Peabody, Massachusetts at the Black Box. Tickets are online. Front row is sold out, but you can still get general admission and 4 packs of family pack. It's a great time.
Peabody. I like that. Peabody.
Right? It's a nice little town.
No, I know. I just like the name of it. Peabody.
Absolutely. What about the tongue next?
That's what I'm saying. Peabody. I'm sorry. I'm just having fun. Just like, whatever. But, yeah, hopefully I can make it up this year. Like, I had said to Zach, like, 2025 is going to be all about, for me personally, like, I want to start hitting promotions that I never physically been to, but, like, you know, obviously, like, maybe I'll watch, or, you know, I just want to get to the buildings or whatever like that and watch one of the shows live. So I know, like, one day, I think we did this last year, right? We put out me and Zach were curious, and we made out a list of all the indie promotions that we've been to. And I'm kind of curious, like, if you guys get, like, you know, a bug up your butt, do a list and please tag me and Zach, because we would love to see, like, your list of promotions that you've physically been in the building for. And, you know, just one time, like, you know, whatever. So it's like, if you've been to Fight Life, you know, like, or BST Wrestling or Limitless or something, like, just make a list and just see. Because me and Zach were really curious one day and we started doing it. I think I had reached 55, I think it was.
I don't even remember my number at this point, but there's just so many places. I'm glad that I got to add a couple places that I really wanted to add this year. I got to add Grind Pro to my list. Got to add BST, like you said. Mm-hmm. Legacy is timeless. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of really good promotions now that I've been able to kind of like, and that's also helped a lot in, you know, doing ring rentals with Renegade Ring Rentals, T Phoenix, and all that. You know, getting to hit up some different places and see so many different people. And like it's really cool. Like you said, like that being your goal for next year to be able to hit more places. Because again, like staying so confined, like yes, you can do that and still have a great time, but it's so much more fun when you just open your horizons and you just expose yourself to new stuff. And that's why, again, I love watching shows with Tiffany. Like when we go and watch Action, which I know is your big one for 2025.
Yeah,
you keep
that's my big one.
It. But like, you know, getting to see people like Diego Hill or Rico Gonzalez, Sean Legacy, like getting to like actually see other, and they're like, oh wow, there is a lot of really good talent that I'm just not aware of. Maya World, freaking love Maya World. I mean, even Moy J. Lee, who I just saw up at NFW, because I only knew him through Under the Ropes podcast, you know? So, like, again, it's just crazy what can happen when you just expand your horizons a little bit and just see what else is out there.
And you don't know what's going to happen to it. I was having this conversation with somebody earlier that shout out to Conrad, Everything Pro Wrestling. So make sure you give him a follow because he put out a list. Like he kind of did like a year end. He does this every year. He does like a year end. So go follow Everything Pro Wrestling also. So he put out a list with like a whole bunch of things. And like he covers a lot of AEW, WWE stuff or whatever like that. And he keeps tabs with the indies because of me and stuff like that. And a lot of the people that I put on this podcast, like they've gone to AEW, you know, and now look at the WWE, you know, ID prospects, and you see like a bunch of people that I've interviewed are these prospects and stuff. So it's kind of cool. And I was telling Conrad earlier, I was like, he popped me with his list. And I was like, look at you with all the indie names I said on this list. I was like, I popped for Charles Mason. I was like, that is fucking awesome. I was like, you know, so, you know, and that's the whole point with the End of the Ropes for me is to kind of broaden the horizons for people that they might not know. Like Maya's World, like I learned from this guy, Justin, in Texas. He had tagged me because she did a bridge. And she was my first interview this year. And we talked about the story that I got tagged with bridge. And I was like, it's not perfect. So she went purposely to perfect the perfect bridge. So now she calls me Bridge Mommy. So it's so funny. So, but yeah, 2025, the goal is to go to a bunch of promotions that we haven't gone to. Like Zach's gone to like BST and like he's never been to BST. And then Legacy is Timeless is a new promotion that started this year and stuff like that. So he came to like one of those. I got to go to AXW. Like I finally got to physically be in the building for Rad Pro, at which I've supported from the beginning, but I never physically been in the building. So I got to check that off my list, which is pretty cool.
Always got if you have the chance, if you're in that vicinity and you have the chance to go to a Rad Pro Wrestling show, you just got it. Because it's one of those things, like, you cannot get something like that at any other show.
Right.
And it's just such a unique concept, and it's just so down-to-earth, simplistic fun.
Yeah.
That it's some of the most talented people in New England. And hell, they bring in sometimes, like, they've had FB down there. They've had that, I don't know where he's from, but he's wicked viral. Big Trouble Ben Bishop. You know, and again, like, they put on their persona. Dijak was just there, had a banger with Milo Mira.
Right.
Like, sorry that I'm not using their 1995 names, but, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, you can find some hidden gems in there. You can see people be able to maybe play a dynamic that you haven't seen them play before. I love me some Rad Pro.
Yeah, definitely, like, check that out. You know, it's funny.
Thanks to Rad Pro for giving us a mini Rastival this year.
Yes.
At the White.
We're here for it.
That way I get to have fun with my bestie over here, Tiffany.
Hell yeah, we're going. So me and Zach will be there Tuesday. We'll be there for Rad Pro and Beyond Wrestling this Tuesday. So excited about that. So if you're going, come hang out with me and Zach, which is kind of cool. It's been a while since I've been up there. So it'll be fun to go see like everybody.
And it's a big Beyond show at the White Eagle.
I know. I'm glad like we're going, which is great. Right? Oh my God. There's so much like we could sit here. We could talk about, what's it called? Like Sammy Diaz. Let's talk about Sammy Diaz a little bit more because like
Sammy Diaz.
This is, you know, he deserves everything. He just was, you know, we just brought him back on the podcast a couple weeks ago, you know, top 5.
hanging.
He had 5 belts. He lost the belt like within seconds or whatever like that. We talked about that on the podcast, but he's coming back. He wants all these belts, you know, like he's going to need an intern to carry the rest of his belts. We talked about this.
Right. he might end up adding the Proving Ground Championship. If he wins the Proving Ground Cup, he becomes the number.
And now, like...
And it's even crazier retroactively thinking about it, right, is that I'll obviously be there. I'll get to commentate Sammy Diaz. And it was on this podcast last year that I actually got offered my position.
I know. So shout out to Todd.
Shout out Todd. Shouts out Proving Ground. One little extra there. But, like, it's just crazy to, like, what can happen in a year, you know?
It's wild. And like...
Diaz is killing it. And, like, again, he might be the Blitzkrieg champion soon. He's there.
He's like, he'll take on everything.
Back. Like...
I'm ready.
Maybe now, because I just saw... Fight Life announced that collaboration with Blitzkrieg, and I mean, I wouldn't be opposed if Sammy Diaz came and, you know,
Richard Holiday
air out that rarefied air a little bit, you know. I don't know if you can smell it though where you are, Tiffany.
No, I'm in New York. There is no rarefied air here. Okay. There is no rarefied air here. You can go give him his flowers. Okay. I can't. Anyway, but match for like Sammy that we got to talk about is him and Landon Hale. Okay, at United by One for the BST championship. Okay, and it was title for title, and Sammy came up. But this was like one of my favorite matches of this year, and I think this is going to be one that like everybody's going to like be talking about for a long time. But that was crazy, and like you got to be there live with me too.
And I was so like it was one of those things where like again it was one of those shows where like I didn't know if I was gonna be there, and then like I got the call and I'm like, all right, cool, I'll definitely be there then.
Yeah.
And like you had told me about like what had gone into that match and all that, and I was at the show that Sandy became the #1 contender, so I at least had that little bit of like, all right, this segues into this, and like again, I love Landon. It's no secret. I literally adopted his Stella son. He is now still safely here a year later. He's still alive and well. He's beautiful and plentiful. But like that's my bromance. And Sammy Diaz, obviously, just one of the absolute best. And those two guys are like, again, they're traveling. They're really getting out there. People are really starting to be like, hey, these are the guys. These are the guys that are going to carry the next few years. Sammy Diaz just debuted for Ring of Honor recently. Landon Hale's been doing the tours in Germany with WXW. Like, and to have those two guys just go out there and have that main event level match, just go out there 20 plus minutes. And it was just beautiful because again, like they play off each other so well. And like you said, they had the history going into it. So there's obviously stuff that even I wouldn't have known if they were called back to the other match, but the way they worked, it was just so beautifully woven. And like, Sammy Diaz being Sammy Diaz is like, I see a belt, I want that belt, I take that belt.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Even Landon's had an amazing year. He wrestled Ali, you know, like Mustafa Ali, like at Action, you know, like it's just crazy. Like
Shy too, honestly. Like obviously, I know he's from TV coming back to the Indies, but like he's just somebody who like has made so many classic moments with his run on the Indies and has been able to like push people like him and Sidney Akeem, give him that credit as well. Like he's just like, they're doing things that are so like you can't take your eyes off it, and by proxy whoever they're in the ring with, you now can't take your eyes off of them because they're making that guy look like $1 million at the same time if they weren't already, obviously.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like it's absolutely nuts. So we'll go like a little bit West Coast over here because I want to talk about, because this, you know how there's always like that one match that stays in your head. And I remember like there was a year with Grind where, like I was obsessed with Travis Huckabee and Anthony Henry, and that's all I could talk about. And I think for me, there's actually like 2 matches for me this year or whatever like that. And one's like kind of like West Coast. Well, not West Coast really, but like Black Label Pro pretty much. And Rico Gonzalez versus Alex Zane. This is a must watch. This is on Thriller. So it's like, if you haven't watched it, if you haven't watched Black Label Pro, like I started watching Black Label Pro because Alex Zane and Blake Christian years ago, that they were always there. So that's what kind of made me start watching Black Label Pro, which is pretty good. But Rico Gonzalez, another one that's been on this podcast. I see big things. We talked about him and Sam Diaz. I need to have this. I've been talking about this for a very, very long time because I know the chemistry for those two are going to be amazing or whatever like that. But this is a match that if you have not watched, you need to go and go watch this match, because my mind was blown, because Zane's always like in Japan now. And then for Rico and him to have this match, you watched this match, right? Did you see this or you didn't watch this match?
Yeah, I went back after a while and I did watch it. And it's one of those, like, again, like you said, it is a banger.
Yeah.
Because Alex Zane's proven. Alex Zane is proven to be just like, you put him in there and he's going to give you something special.
Yeah.
And then Rico Gonzalez was somebody that obviously I wasn't as familiar with. I've seen him from what I've seen with action, but that was just such a, like, holy God, they were doing some stuff that I was like,
yeah. It's crazy. It's so good. So good. So definitely like follow Black Label Pro if it's something completely new. I'm telling you, you're not going to be disappointed. There's a whole bunch of people there. I know even like me and Matt Griffin had talked about that match. Like, you know, it's so freaking good. There's so many freaking matches, but I know I'm going to bring this up because me and Zach were fucking hyped for freaking Danny Miles versus Gabby Forza. Oh,
oh my God.
Quick, so attack Gabby, like, and Danny. Let's just like gush. That was definitely our pick, right? I think that was my pick, but that this was the year that, you know, people were gonna see her, that she was gonna have a really good year, you know.
Yeah, and that was one of those things where it's like, how could it not be exactly as you said?
Yeah.
Like, because again, like, she already showed like very early that she had it.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is. It's it.
Mm-hmm.
She had it.
She was
Danny Miles is honestly an unsung hero of independent wrestling. Like, he's somebody who's been doing this for like 17 years, and like only I think now is getting like the real respect of just being a ring general, like veteran level dude. Like, not just like, again, he's amazing. He's been amazing for years, but like now again, I see a match between him and Gabby Forza, and I'm like, yes, please give me that.
Give me best the 7. Like, it was so good that like that could have been the whole show.
Days freaking like just powerhouse, and again, like, they're just people with that strong build. So like their styles are just so
spot on. Like, I was so upset. This is a match that
finish was so out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
I was, wait, how did this actually, like, wait, I almost like couldn't wrap my head around it when it was happening, and I was like, oh shoot.
I was like, this match can be ran like a whole shitload more times, and I'm very upset that this
you know what, put Trigger with Danny, put Bear Bronson with Gabby. Make it a tag team match. I'm here for it. Let's do Savage.
Wait, there's still the tag team champs, right? At Chaotic, right? Not Chaotic, Fight Life, right?
Yes, they are still the tag team champions.
Okay, quickly, tag Frankie.
Listen, I've been saying that friggin' Nomi and Brunson would fit so well, even one or the other, or both if it happens, you know.
Quick, tag Frankie. Like, I'll do it. I'll tag Frankie. Like, listen, I'm just gonna start like tagging like all the fucking promoters pretty much
right now. I've got me here.
I tag Frankie. Listen, Frankie, it's funny. It's like I sit here with like podcasts and I start calling out promoters and I'll be like, listen, like, you didn't book this match. So I think in reality, it's like, I just need to start my own promotion. And that's it. Because I would just have banger after banger after banger after banger. So.
It's banger after banger.
Oh my God. It's funny because I got really bored one day and I put out a list of matches. And like this card was like a banger. It was just like banger. And then I started going with like storylines within the matches, whatever. Like, it was crazy. I like came up with all these crazy like storylines that this one wins this but an upset, but then enters themselves in this and stuff like that. And like you guys all know, I have to have my husband scramble. It just has to happen. It will happen one day. I don't care.
Yeah, I gotta narrow down the list a little bit.
Yeah, I gotta narrow down the list a little. That's why. Cause what?
It's like, unless you're doing a rumble.
I could do a rumble, but that would be a very expensive rumble. So I'm okay with a scramble of like 6 men, and I think I freaking called them all out earlier too, pretty much.
Basically.
Pretty much. So, but yeah.
The viewers, if you remember who the 6 are, drop them in the comments. And
What did they get a prize here?
Yeah, we'll send you for an award.
Here, here's your award. Oh, another one that was like another match that oh my god, like I have to bring up like certain matches that are just like going into my brain right now. So it's like freaking ETU, the last ETU show, freaking A Game versus Matt Makowski. And I was like, why did I never think that this match was like, why did this never come into my brain? Because once it was like put out on screen, it was like, oh my god, I was like, this match is gonna be magic. And it was. And I just saw Struggles the other day at the CEP show, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, this match was so good. And he was like, they got the shit beat out of them pretty much, but oh my god, so good.
Yeah, I know.
Max says, I can't even think of my favorites. It's hard when you're on the spot, especially when you're podcasting, because then you forget things, you know. And like I wrote a couple of things down or whatever like that. You know, just as like when you're put on the spot, you're like, oh shit, you know. So it's like best 5 bridges, you know. Like another match that like we have to talk about is Dustin Waller versus Kylon King, and like legit, I'm sitting in the front row crying. Okay, like it was something that these guys have been on the podcast so many times, and I've had them originally, like I had Kylon on first, then I had Dustin, then I brought them, I did the full Miracle Generation with the Haven, that was like episode 200, and then I had Dustin and Kylon on together, but like Dustin had talked about it on the podcast that him and Kylon had wrestled a couple of times, but I'd never seen it like in person, you know, but Dustin had never won. So we talked about that. And to like physically see it with them being my favorites and everything like that, yeah, I was crying a lot to Zach.
Yeah, and it's even funnier because like I remember like years ago, like before they were tagging, I was there for one of those the early matches that they had against each other. And like even back then, like, you know, again, they're just guys who, because they're so intertwined together from their past and training together and traveling together a lot, like they just, again, they can bring out the best in each other.
Yeah.
And I'll always say, like, there were a couple of situations like in Proving Ground where like you know, tag team partners were battling each other trying to like vie for their own opportunity. And it's a lot of like when you're in the ring with somebody that you consider a brother, somebody who is actual blood family to you, you hit a little harder because you know that person's going to take it. And that allows you to have just that much better of a match. And, like, obviously that's proven considering at the Fight Line show that we're talking about, neither man won. They ended in a draw. So they beat each other to the point of no longer being able to beat each other.
Oof, that shit was rough for me. And I was like, oh, I was like...
rougher, and it's getting rougher.
I was like, oh, I was like, this is...
Lucas Chase is an antagonizer everywhere he goes. Look at this man. This man's is killing the Church of Greatness. This man's trying to kill the Miracle Generation. Who's next? Lucas Chase is the... Lucas Chase is supposed to be the cure, but meanwhile he's diseasing everything.
Clip that, because that was... He's diseasing everybody. I'm done. We're gonna change this. Make it a shirt. Lucas Chase, the disease. That's so terrible.
The disease, Lucas Chase.
Oh, I love you though. I freaking dead. Oh my god. There's so much.
I'm ready for that in the steel cage thing, though, man. That was not something I was sitting there like, of all the ways that match could have gone, of all the people that potentially could have been the fourth man for the Stetson wrench.
Yeah. Yeah, they got everybody good. Got everybody freaking good. That's crazy. I remember going to a Test the Strength show where Danny teamed up with Lucas at one of the shows. This is like
Yes.
a summer. I don't think it was last year. It might have been the year before. And then
champions, or I could have sworn there was a point where they were either challenging for the tag titles or they won.
Yeah, because they wrestled Dustin and Kylon, and Danny was taunting me. He goes, "Here's for TikTok," or whatever, and then he's moving his chest for me, and like the people around me were dying because they're like, "Okay, obviously he knows her, so he's fucking with her," or whatever. I was like, "Get out of here!" I'm like,
he antagonizes everybody. There's nowhere he goes where he doesn't antagonize somebody.
I still think of the time.
People who go out of their way now to try and antagonize Danny Miles back.
It's so great. I remember when they were messing with Danny Miles with the freaking chains. And then, like, Kylon and Dustin took it and, like, they started making fun of Danny. I was dying. It was so funny. Like, I know we talked about that on, like, our podcast and everything like that. But, yeah, it's been crazy. Like, them popping up. Another good storyline was Cruel and Adam Priest. That was going from promotion to promotion to promotion to build for the IWTV title. And I'm still pissed. I've been pissed since like 2 years ago that Priest still hasn't won the IWTV belt. And I'm not going to be happy until he wins the IWTV belt. So this is 2 years in the making, and I'm still pissed off because I really thought they were going to pull the trigger on Priest this year because they were literally promotion to promotion to promotion building this feud, and I was pissed. So like, so rude.
And now it's Marcus Mathers' turn to
cry.
Yeah,
calling it now. Marcus Mathers is your new champ on Tuesday. So
yeah, he's gonna use whatever the fans bring him to somehow, some way, bring down that monstrous whatever you want to call it.
I think so.
Someone's got it, right? Like that dude's had the belt. If you don't like, if you count the canon of his real title, like what is it, like 2 years plus now that he's had it?
Definitely, so crazy. Let's talk about Bufa a little bit because Bufa's had a crazy year. Bufa is going to be my first interview. You guys are hearing it first here. Bufa is going to be the first interview of 2025 for me. So I wanted like a return back, and Boof is someone that I've been wanting to bring back onto the podcast, especially with how much he's blown up with Limitless, which is so insane. His feuds with JT Dunn and, you know, winning the belt, and like he's had an amazing 2024.
He really has. Like, and you can even parlay that into the fact of like, all right, Remarkable took the gamble on him to put the top title on him and let him cook. Which again, if you let Bufa cook, you are in the right. You are in the right place if you're letting Bufa cook. But like they put him in like the first indie elimination chamber. Look, he got to do that. He won the Limitless, the Vacation Land Cup. What was the other thing? There was another big old Bufa. Oh, and obviously everything he's doing at Wrestling Open and on Wrestling. Like, he's just consistently going against top guy after top guy, being put in these positions where
Santana Ortiz that he's wrestled. It's insane.
Exactly. And the fact that he's getting all of this now, like, is a testament to that grind, that just don't say die, don't stop. Because Buffo could have been somebody that, like, anybody else just fell under the wayside and just wasn't about it, but he stuck with it and he continued to just be his true organic self and create this very unique aura about him that everybody just loves and you can't help but love. And, like, he's getting it, and now he's the Limitless Wrestling World Champion, and there's plenty more where that came from.
Absolutely. It's crazy. Everything Pro Wrestling's in the chat. Give him some love. I know we were talking about it earlier, so definitely go help out with his end of the year award. So it's out there on his social media platform. So go check it out. It'll take a few, not even like a long. There's like a couple of questions on the list. You can add your own answers to it and everything like that. Like I said, I was impressed. I told him, he popped me. So go give some love on his channel as well. If you're not subscribed, go give him some love. I don't know. Well, let's see what else. So we got to talk a little bit about Creator Pro a little bit here. So, you know, we'll go put over, you know, I can't say future boyfriend anymore because he evolved this year, right? So he's now all mass appeal.
He's all about mass appeal.
He's all about the mass appeal. So he is here.
Silver screen, you know?
Silver screen. He's been having a good year. You know, that's like another thing. It's funny because I tell him this all the time. It was like, you know, there's just like certain people that like remind me. And like Zach always says this. Zach said that if I would form a faction, pretty much like Tristan Kyle would be part of it, Darren Hardway, Ryan Redfield or whatever like that. And I put him next to Dante, obviously, too, because there's things that like remind me of it. And I've noticed or whatever within like the last year that, you know, the difference of like when I first started seeing him last year to like where he's at now, and he's like cleaned up and perfected a lot of his move sets and stuff like that, which reminds me of like Landon, because I've always said this about Landon. Landon is very clean with his move sets and everything like that. So I definitely noticed that with Tristan Kyle, that, you know, some of his move set he's perfected beautifully and stuff like that. There's just like certain things that like Ivan popped, like his drop kick that he does like with one, like he kicks out into the drop kick, so it's like very different than a Ryan Clancy drop kick. So because it's different, you know, so it's like, oh, that's completely different than a regular like drop kick or whatever like that. So you know, so we've seen him pop around. He had a chance at like Fight Life you know, recently, so make sure you go check that out on the Fight Life YouTube page. So he's been making his rounds around here. He wrestled Slade this year. He wrestled Richard Holiday, you know, the rare fire. That was a really good match. Jumbo ref that. You know, so I have beef with Tristan Kyle that he's picking on my friend.
Yeah, no, again, like you're talking about his moveset, his arsenal, and all that. And he is somebody who, that you've seen the growth, like you said.
Yeah.
But he's just somebody that can make the simple stuff effective. He doesn't do a lot, which isn't a detriment to him. He does a lot of things. He does a lot of small things that build up, and then they matter. He makes those things matter. Like, you talk about the scramble from Fight Life, one of my favorite things that he did. And I think he might not be doing it anymore, but I just loved when he would hit the rope. And, like, instead of hitting the guy with the tip of his knee, he just threw his whole hip into it. And then, like, every time, like, he would snapmare somebody and get them into it. And then he would, like, swoop the next guy and hit them with it. And, like, each way, he put each person in that position in a different way. So, like, yes, the move itself may be silly, but it's the technical aspect behind it. It's something that's just, it's that little thing that when you do it in a way, it's noticeable.
Yeah. So I remember when him and Dante wrestled, and I'm like, oh, okay. So it's always like there's somebody for somebody that I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, I'm not ready for this match. And I was like, it was really good. It was a really good match. It was at a Cap TV. So it was like really good too. So I have those moments that it's like, oh, you know, like full circle pretty much here. And I was like, I've been always close with Dante. And I was like, now I'm close with Tristan Kyle and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, okay, now they're going to wrestle each other. I'm here for it. You know, like Dante just wrestled Anthony Gangone last night for the Excite Wrestling belt, pretty much. And, you know, it's like, oh, I'm not ready for this. So
talk about Sammy and his 4 belts. Dante's trying to catch up. He's got 3 belts, doesn't he?
Yeah, like, I don't know if I'm confused a little bit. I gotta like go back and like check the facts on that one, because I thought like Jack took one of the belts from him at VPW or something. So I gotta double check that. But yeah, so like Dante's been killing it, because Dante just won the Cap TV championship belt also too.
Perfect. I mean, hell, he could end up being chaotic tag team champions at some point, maybe with Paris Van Dale, because they've been doing a lot of really good work. I mean, Dante has proven to be the next American Idol with that song that he wrote, it's still
Oh
stuck
my
in my head.
God.
Like,
It's the littlest
hey,
things.
he can do anything. He can take a tag team with Paris Van Dale and create a freaking Mamba song about it. He
Yeah.
can take a championship celebration and get his dinosaur pinata over.
Yeah. Toby. So at the last Cap TV, there was a fan, and he purposely called like Party City to find out if there was the Toby pinatas. So he went and bought 4 of them. He would have bought more if Party City had more, and he gave them randomly to the fans. So when Dante came out to wrestle VSK, which was another great match, and I knew this was a very important match for I'm so glad that like I'm there for those like big moments for a lot of the wrestlers, because like, you know, they'll tell me stuff, so I know the significance for certain matches, and I know this one was an important one. So it was just funny because not only like did they break Toby out when Dante came out to wrestle VSK, but then they started taunting the shit out of Jack Tomlinson because they had that match going on a couple months ago. So it was just funny because like Jack was getting mad and this whole thing, but they popped Dante like big time for Toby. So definitely check that one out as well. So crazy. But yeah, so a lot of amazing promotions. I know, like I said, I'm happy that Zach got onto the Action train. So I'm trying to get down there, and I want to go to TWE. And I'm putting this out here now, because it like came up, and this guy, I was telling Zach about it. So he's now the Action champion. Was it Tim Bosby? He comes from TWE, so he's like new. He made his like debut, and he took the belt off Bobby Flacco, and like,
he took the Warhorse.
huh?
Warhorse took it off.
Oh, Warhorse. Yeah. And but then he like won the belt the next day. That's what it was. That's why I'm getting confused or whatever.
Yeah, they got random Warhorse in there.
Yeah, like, oh my God, like this guy. And then they had like the upset because I where was I? It was at some show, and I was getting tagged, and they're like, Tiff, you're not ready. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch like Action the next day. And he like murdered Bobby Flacco within a minute or whatever like that. But Dylan Hales, whatever, like put him over, and it was like the big moment that it was like, what are you doing, Dylan? What are you doing? And so this guy, you know, this is a name that I know a lot of people are not familiar with at all, because I'm still unfamiliar with him and stuff like that. But I know he comes out of TWE. So TWE is, you know, somewhere that people should be paying attention to, because then you start seeing them pop up at like PWE and like I think Classic Championship Wrestling. This is all down south promotions and stuff like that. And Action. This guy, Tim Bosby, guarantee it, he's 2025. That's going to be the name that's going to start going around. So eventually I'll put him on the podcast, because I think he's still kind of new. So I don't think he's ready for an under the ropes interview yet, because I think he needs to make some more moves in the independent scene. But mark my word, you're going to know him 2025. Definitely. So that's big. That's big coming from me. You know, once you start hearing a name that you never heard before, and then you start, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I said it last year, I'll say it again. Tiffany is somebody who has an eye for talent. So if she tells you that, if she says it 9 out of 10 times, usually that person produces.
Yeah. Yeah, I see something in him. Big, you know, like, I don't know. Like, I just see, like, you might start seeing him all over the place. Like, Seabass Finn's another one that's made, like, a massive role this year, too, right? With his match with Dijak. Dijak has been putting over freaking, like, blowing people up left and right. Aaron Rourke and him, that was the first CPA's match with him.
That match with him and Aaron Rourke, honestly, I mean, me and my group of friends, we just had our little like Friendsmiths, and we compiled like a compilation of some of our favorite matches from 2024. And immediately, as soon as the concept was like, all right, pick 2 matches, the first one I put in there was Dijak versus Aaron Rourke.
Yeah.
Because that match to me was just like, it was just the match. Like, I put it down, like, there will be no arguments that this match is in the top matches of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, Aaron Rourke. And it's really interesting if you think about it retroactively, because it was Dijak's first match back on the indies from his contract with WWE expiring.
Yeah.
And now fast forward to now Aaron Rourke being WWE ID'd. So it's kind of like, it literally was like a torch moving moment of like, hey, here's the foundation, now run with it.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rourke is somebody who's been running with it for a minute now.
Yeah.
Like, there's no denying that Aaron Rourke absolutely deserved that, as well as many of the others who have received their IDs. But I mean, I'm just gonna gush about Aaron Rourke because I can right now.
Well, we should be. All right. He always looks good. Love him. Evil gay. The most wonderful person in the world. Love him. I need to bring him back onto this podcast because I've been wanting to do it. He's just so busy. So it's like, you know, like he would come back because he's already been on the podcast and stuff like that. And he's been on like a bunch of indie talks and stuff like that in the background and stuff. And like, I love watching him put on, you know, the face paint and everything like that because it's always different and stuff. And that was always one of the things. It was funny
because he's somebody who, again, like he does really put a lot of thought into that stuff.
Yeah.
Like the paint that he had, because he wasn't even supposed to wrestle Dijak that night. He was supposed to wrestle Lio Rush.
Yeah.
And he literally had like this whole thing that was going to like play up to that because it was specific to that match. He does, like, when he wrestled Effie last year, there was a lot of meticulous thought put into his attire and all that. And I love when a wrestler puts that level of detail when they can. Obviously, not everybody can for whatever reasons. But if you can do it and you do it right, it really does just make your moments matter that much more.
Yeah. Him and Bobby Orlando had an amazing match at Cap and everything, you know, Creative Pro and stuff like that. And again, like I said, there's those moments that, you know, like I know stuff and it's kind of really nice to see executed and stuff. And that was definitely one that it's like, I knew that was going to, like, I knew it was Bobby was going to win. I knew it, you know, it's like me and Zach talk about all of this stuff like all the time. And sometimes I pop Zach. I know I did it yesterday because I called the tag match for New Year's and he was like, you were right. You know, like, I don't know what it is. I just see shit, you know, but, even like, Conrad in the chat, he said that, what he said, WWE ID scouts are they watching? You know, like, hire me, I got you.
Yeah, do you guys scout commentators? Because I mean,
I think my calling in wrestling should have been a scouter because I'm pretty spot on with like a lot of people. You know, like I usually pick some good people. I find some good ones. I start digging, and like I'm always looking to find new people and stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy, right? Like Maya, right? Like when I found Maya, like I told Zach, I was like, this Maya's world. I was like, I'm telling you, you know, she's really good. It's just crazy. I just look at all the interviews I've done too.
I'm grateful to get to see her when she did come up to Wrestling
Yeah.
Open. Like, that's when I popped into the White Eagle because I'm like, listen, if it's one of those times where like, if we're gonna go, this is somebody like I want to be able to see.
Right.
Same way like, when I went to Open and they had Amira from out west.
Yeah.
Like she's somebody who has grown on me heavily from her work in Prestige Wrestling. Shouts out my boy Jordan Castle out there. Prestige Wrestling, Jordan Castle. They put out a lot of great matches. And Amira is somebody who like again she's been in the conversation to have matches with Jordan Grace and Masha and Athena. Like she's like I can't wait for her to like because I know she's expanding out obviously of the West Coast, but when she's like regularly now just everywhere is going to be awesome because she's another one that's just like she's not big but she's built.
Yeah.
And she's like she could go with some really good people if you give her the chance.
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, it's so crazy. Yeah, I'm very like I wish I understand. I get it. It's hard. I'm not saying anything bad. Stuff gets stale after a while, you know, like especially someone like me that watches so much wrestling and I get to see the same stuff over and over and over again. I would like some clashing going on. I would love like East versus West, you know. I would love to see stuff that, you know, we never thought that we would get. You know, I want to see talent that I'd never seen before wrestle some of the talent that I'm like obsessed with, you know. And I get it. It's hard because it's like money, right? It's always like the money thing. It's like, oh, okay, like, well, this person's in Vegas and like, you know, it's going to cost money to like fly them out to like whatever, Connecticut or something like that, you know, like I get it, you know, but I want some different stuff, you know, like I would, you know, like that gets me hyped is seeing completely different matches that I've never saw before happen anywhere.
You know, speaking of things that aren't stale and matchups, because I want to gush about a thing that I just saw last night that, like, you want to say things I haven't seen before. Shouts out Fresh Air, the new IWTV Tag Team Champions. Specifically McCray Martin.
Hell yeah.
They're defending the tag team titles against CXR, I want to say it was.
Yeah.
I don't know which member of it was, but they went, you know how Flash does the handspring before he does the cutter?
Yeah,
well, this guy was going a handspring off the rope. And McCray caught this man. I've never seen somebody put another person on their shoulders in an electric chair so fast. But it was literally just a snap fluid motion. And then him and Jude did some,
I think it was Chael Connors.
Connor thing. But, like, it's one of those things where you say it where it's like, because we watch so much, sometimes a lot of stuff gets lost. Because it's like, all right, the beats, here's this. We've seen this person do this stuff. So it's very rare that you see something that's, like, so unique that you've never seen anybody do, that you never thought anybody could come up with. And, like, obviously, when you put somebody up in an electric chair, like, it takes a second because you got to, like, balance the person on your shoulders. It's chicken fight. But, like, this dude flipped in, and I was like, holy crap, McCray. How did you pull that off? And then he just threw him at Junior. And I'm like, my mind was blown for, like, literally 6 seconds because I could not process what happened. And I needed to publicly put that out because I've been meaning to. Yeah. So I will clip this at some point. McCray, fucking keep doing that because that was amazing.
We love McCray over here. So shout out to, I'm glad I haven't seen them in a while, so I get to see the New Year's Eve. So that's kind of awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of people. I saw Sarah Rain last night on Excite Wrestling, and I tagged him in something, and then he's like, I miss your face, and I was like, I miss you. Like, I try to get wherever I can, and I try to watch as much as I can to kind of like support everybody around. It's hard. Man, there's over 70 people watching. What is up? I love you guys. You guys are awesome. So let us know, like, if you want us to like talk about something like the indie wrestling realm. I think another bucket list for me, promotion wise, definitely is FSW, and that's in Vegas. So that's definitely.
There's somebody I see a lot about.
Oh, what, FSW?
Huh?
What did you say?
I'll say, like, that's one that I do hear a lot about out in Vegas. I know they've done work with Revolver. I mean, I know a lot of them because of Chris Bay was there for a hot minute. Shouts out Chris Bay.
Well, he's original from there.
Yeah. So
that's why. And then he always like randomly like goes back there. So that's definitely like on my list of promotions that like I want to get to. But yeah, I definitely, there's so many, you know, there's like a whole bunch up in Canada that I would love. Like C4 is definitely on my bucket list to go to. C4 is running great stuff. Mystery Wrestling, you know, Evil Uno's promotion and everything like that. That's definitely on my list of places. AIW.
You're taking me. You forget Tristan. You're taking me.
Sorry, Tristan. You've heard it here on the podcast. You've been replaced. Tristan Kyle's been like my little travel buddy. I've been going to like all these promotions and stuff like that, and go like see different stuff, which is great. But yeah, so we'll go to C4. We'll put him on the roof. It's okay. We'll put him on the roof of the car. We'll just put him on the roof.
Yeah, the roof, sure.
I can't. Shorty Chat says my favorite event, that was the Midwest All-Star Wrestling Headlocks on Headflyer event on June 30th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Polaroids I took were amazing. Oh, that's awesome. Good Cop Bad Cop says there are some great promotions in Canada. Did a couple while I was visiting Toronto pre-COVID. Yeah, now I got my passport now. Like I renewed it because I like never renewed it during COVID because all that stuff was going on. So I renewed it this year. So maybe there's like a whole bunch. Dreamwave is definitely somewhere like on my bucket. I would love to go to Black Label Pro. It's definitely on my list. I think the number one promotion I need to get to this year is Action, because I've been talking about Action for so long. And it was like that with Limitless and Beyond for like the longest time that I kept talking about it. I was like, I have to make it happen. So 2025 is a must. Like I said, shout out to Matt Griffin. I love Matt Griffin. I'm constantly talking to Matt Griffin. He does amazing things. So if you're not watching Action, I don't know what you're doing. There's so much good stuff down there. So yeah, I need to get down there. And listen, Adam Priest better win the IWTV belt, because I'm still pissed. Zach knows I'm pissed.
Yes.
So
people are pissed. She's people. She's pissed.
Yeah. I'm very mad. This has been going on for years. Until he wins the damn belt, I'm still gonna be pissed. But yeah. Jermaine Marbury's another one. We didn't really touch too much on him or whatever, but he's another one that's been making waves all over the place. And it was funny because when he debuted at Creator Pro for like the Halloween Rumble, and like I went back and I listened and I was like, oh my God. I was like, you hear me. And that was big arena and everything like that. You heard me pop so loud for him. I was like, you can hear me. I was like, that's so bad. I was like, but everybody got on board with him. So I was like really happy like for him.
Yeah. It was great. And again, like I got to watch him debut for Northeast Wrestling, which was I know was a big goal for him to wrestle there, because he's from Connecticut, and NEW is like one of the biggest promotions that Connecticut can offer you.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him debut for Let's Wrestle. Like, he was not expecting to see me out there.
Yeah.
Like, he is somebody who, and again, he makes the most of the opportunities. He makes the most of the time that he's given, even if he's only given like 5 minutes. Him and Benny the basketball make the most out of those 5 minutes.
Oh my God. Can we talk about the moment at Fight Life where he teamed up with Lil Mean Kathleen and Gina was the ref and they played Space Jam?
They played basketball.
They played basketball. And it was like, it was funny.
They did Titanic. And they sunk the ball into the BMT and aerial side too.
I can't. That stuff was hysterical. Like, Fight Life's like another one that everybody should be following too. It's so fucking good. But
I just for a second, shouts out the other half of that equation. BMT, aerial, the Monarchy. They're veterans who are just recently returning after the past couple of years. And I won't lie, they were people that I didn't understand what it was about them. I didn't get what people were like trying to get me to see in them.
right.
And I grew to respect them, and like now they're two people that like I see them on a card. I'm like, I know they're gonna be able to get a good match out of this person.
Yeah.
I know that, you know, if anything, they will be the most entertaining part of something, because they put that love. Everything they do is so personalized to who they're wrestling.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just great. And they're people that are reliable. They're safe workers. They're tremendous workers. You know, you can put them in there with anybody and you can trust that that person will come out of it just fine. Like, and they deserve forget Richard Holiday. They deserve their flowers for how much they do, because it is a lot, especially when they have 6 children they lug around at the same time as being regular wrestlers on every weekend, like just doing it.
Oh my God, Ariel was dying at me because like they were just at Rad Pro and they wrestled Lord Shreds, which is Miracle Jed, and I started screaming at Dustin that he was a homewrecker, like during when I was recording it or whatever, and she was like, she messaged me, she shared my post and she said, Dustin, you're a homewrecker. And she messaged me and she was like, your commentary is killing me. She goes, I was like, oh, the part that I called him the homewrecker.
Between that and then at United by One, where everybody in the crowd was telling her that she was not their queen because Tiffany is the queen.
Yo, I was telling Harry, I was like, did you hear? I said that they started yelling at her that she's not their queen, that I'm their queen. And he was like, really? I'm like, yeah. I was like, so I guess that's going to be the thing now, that when we go to BST, that we're going to yell at her that she's not the queen. I'm the queen. I should wear my crown. I gotta go dig it up. I have a crown, the queen crown. So I should wear that during their match.
Oh my God. There you go.
So we're gonna do that for the February show, which I'm so excited for. So like, I am all here for Dustin Waller versus Tristan Kyle. I had to sponsor that one. Like,
is just bangers. Like
banger.
Harry, like killing it with this card in February. Like so many good matches, including Monarchy, Nahir Robles, and JT Storm. There's another great
Marcus and Sammy Diaz. We got
Sammy Diaz. There was the one I was missing.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm here for it. And they haven't even announced all the matches yet, so like I'm here for it. But yep.
Tristan
So.
Hook.
So definitely check that out. That's on IWTV as well. Man, it's just crazy. Wrestling is just crazy like this year, and I know like we even touch like the surface of, 2024. I can only imagine what 2025 is gonna be. I have a feeling that
with like how hot wrestling is right now. Like you look at, because this is one of those things where like, obviously we're so invested in the indies, we're more invested in the indies than anything else. But with how hot mainstream wrestling is right now, with there being these massive streaming deals, and now WWE doing the ID program, and we're seeing more and more people making debuts on Ring of Honor, like Miracle Jen and Sammy Diaz and TJ Crawford. Like, it's a great time for wrestling, especially on the independent level, because there's more opportunities being created.
Yeah.
And if you have the drive, if you have the passion to actually put in what is required to make the most of what is being presented, like there's no telling where anybody can go, whether it be 2025 or beyond. And now I hope that Shannon Levangie gets her moment when she comes back.
She's coming back soon. I feel it. Wilbert's in the chat. He goes, long time I haven't seen any wrestling. You gotta get back out there. And if not, definitely, that's what the apps are for. So, and if you can't pay for the apps, there's plenty of free stuff on YouTube, and there's stuff on Twitch, so a lot of promotions, like sometimes they'll double stream and they'll put it on YouTube, or they'll put it on Twitch or something, or they'll put matches out. So what was it? Live Pro just premiered on YouTube the other night.
They put out a show where all the matches were a mystery, which was really a cool concept. And I like that Teddy is kind of leaning in that direction. I know Proving Ground right now is actually doing a complete overhaul of the YouTube and actually going back into the archives and posting all the matches from every show, like in chronological, which is a work in progress. And again, like you said, there are promotions that they have their archives on Twitch. They have their archives on YouTube. Like, even if it's not the full archives, even just select matches, get your little sprinkle. Creative Pro is a big one where they've been utilizing YouTube.
Yeah, the Cap TVs are on YouTube. Sometimes they'll just put like a couple of matches, and then like, days later, then they'll put out more. Sometimes they just drop the whole episode or whatever like that. I mean, those are great too. So if like you're in New York, I mean, they're free tickets, like they just put it out there on, just like random dates or whatever, and you can just like send an email and you get free tickets. So like that's a great thing too. So if you ever decide to like come visit New York or something like that, try to plan it around a Cap TV, which are great. So those are always fun. Bryce Donovan, the one that kind of puts that together and everything like that. So, but we got to talk about Bryce here, because Bryce, I'm so happy for. And another one that like I put on this podcast before, like, me and him did an interview, and then I brought him back with Bobby Orlando. So we did Shook Crew pretty much. I would love to have Bryce back on here again. He knows he's always like welcome. Like he got freaking beefy. And then like once he tapped into the heel mode, like forget it. It was like the missing piece that got like unlocked. Like he was always amazing and he was always a great wrestler, but he tapped into something so different this year that I'm totally for. Like I never thought I could see Bryce as a heel, but holy fuck, he plays such a good heel. Like, god damn.
And like I've known that he could play a heel, but this is such a 180 of a heel than what I ever would have thought they would have gone for, what he would have ever like become.
Right.
And like it is wicked cool. It's just because like you can see, and he's somebody where, and I'm not. This isn't a diss at anybody, but there are times where like you see somebody have a massive character shift, but then not a lot changes in terms of their in-ring work.
Right.
Like, but Bryce Donovan is somebody where, yes, maybe he does a lot of the same moves. Maybe a lot of his offense is kind of like stuff that he was already doing, but there's more edge on it. There's more aggression to it. He's adding other things into his repertoire. So now it's like, okay, if you ever saw Bryce Donovan in the colorful tights that he would wear with the Shook crew, and then you see Bryce Donovan, say, on Wrestling Open with Mark Sterling now just in the pants with a duffel bag, it's a different experience. You're not going to get the same match where, like, okay, you could still, even whether somebody's a babyface or a heel, maybe they have a similar style. But Bryce is somebody who's taken this and he has fully committed to it.
Yeah.
And again, allowed him to stand out. It's another reason why he's somebody else who's on that WWE ID prospect list, because he's somebody who's made it a statement to stand out, to be completely different from whatever else is going on.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I think about like when I go over like really back, and then I think about like when JT Dunn came to Create a Pro, and that's like when I really got on board with like Bryce. And I've talked about this with him on the podcast, and I've talked about it with JT on the podcast and everything like that. And you know, I always go back to that. I look at Bryce, right? He went through like, you know, injury, came back, then he got injured again, you know. So to like see where he's come and like, you know, where he's gonna go with like this WWE ID program, and like I saw him at Cap TV recently, you know, he's walking around with the WWE ID, like, you know, the whole outfit and everything like that. And it was like, it's just, you know, I'm so happy for these guys, like, you know, like Ricky Smokes, you know, like Aaron Vork, like it's insane. These guys like deserve it, you know, like I'm so happy, you know, like that hard work pays off, and maybe like they think that. And these are always conversations that I have with wrestlers, that it's like, oh, you know, why do I do this? And, you know, this has been said plenty on the pod from plenty of wrestlers, and it's like, you know, don't do it. You know, like you're going to miss out on major events in life, you know, and all this stuff. And to see like it being paid off is absolutely amazing. So crazy, man. We got over 86 people into this podcast right now. That is crazy. So thank you for
you gotta bring me back more so you can get these numbers, man.
We're just like sitting, just shooting the shit about indie wrestling. Again, like I said, like, you know, if there's anything like you wanted us to talk about or whatever, just like drop it into the chat, because like me and Zach could like sit and talk for hours on the phone and just talk independent wrestling. We do it all the time. Like
last year, and now here we are a year later doing it again, you know, as we have been doing all year.
Yeah. Oh man. So who do you think's gonna like break out next year?
I'm very much getting aboard the Calvin Dumont train, student of the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. I there's something about him that it's untapped. He's a tremendous character worker, and now it's going to be that little extra, similar to Seabass, where you just need that one little thing to click. It's going to take that for him. Also, I really do like the Collective, the tag team of Riley O'Neal and Devin Justice. They've been definitely a tag team I've grown into very much being a fan of this year, especially being a big tag team wrestling person myself. You know, shouts out Guapo Suave, shouts out the Trenches. But like the Collective are ones where it's like, again, every time I see them, like it's a dynamic tag team match. They do have that just seamless chemistry with one another. Like I really want to see them, you know, expand and get out there more, because I think that they could really tear it up with some top-notch tag teams if given the chance. I mean, I'll always give love to my people, you know, AJ Phoenix, who's just getting jacked, lean, mean. He's going to come back with a vengeance. Big Game James, Jamie Tucker. He's somebody specifically within Proving Ground and RWA and some other places that I just think, again, if you put him in with some people that he could prove that he can go and that he should kind of get that attention on him. Like, hey, I am somebody to be taken seriously because, like, again, he's had some really hidden gems with guys like Sammy Diaz, Mike Montero, who he had probably one of my favorite matches that I've actually gotten to call this year for Proving Ground. Him and AJ also had a good ladder match. Like, there's so many people that I could just sit here and be like, this upcoming year is just going to be like, it's going to be on fire for a lot of people.
Yeah. Andy Brown is back, so you know.
Andy Brown, that's dangerous. That's dangerous for a lot of people.
Oh my God. I thought that was so cool that, like, Seabass, we talked about this, you know, when he was on the podcast, is that Seabass was the one of his return match for. And it was like, you know, everything was being kept secret. We were seeing, like, Andy Brown, like, randomly at random places, just, like, hanging out, supporting the friends and stuff like that. And it was like he had to come back, like, sooner or later or whatever like that. But it was like, oh, he's back. And I was like, yes, I'm hyped. So put some gold on that man. So I think, like, next year, like, that's gonna be, like, you know, now it's the comeback, right? The big comeback now, like, so you know, he's coming for his gold back, I feel like, at Blitzkrieg, you know, so I feel like that's gonna be, like, happening for him. Grind will eventually, like, come back within the next couple of months, so I'm looking forward to that. So, you know, he's probably gonna be coming for that, you know, title after Mike Skyros. You know, he's a little sad, so Andy's gonna make him a little more sadder.
Mike, so sad, Skyros.
Yup. Mike's been having a big year too. He wrestled Murder Grandpa.
Did wrestle, and honestly, I've been meaning to get around to that because that match I wanted to gush about it because my God did he kill it in that.
Mm-hmm.
And like Murder Grandpa Minoru Suzuki, like he goes without speaking.
Yeah.
If you just say the name Minoru Suzuki, you're like, okay, who is he against? Who died?
Yeah. Mike
And
Skyros.
like, but Mike Skyros freaking kicked ass.
Yeah.
Like,
He's a good.
He held it. It's really good. And I'm wicked glad that he's going to be coming around more in Proving Ground. I got to call one of his matches, his return match, a couple weeks ago, and he's going to be coming around a lot more. I'm wicked excited to see, you know, what else besides that, you know, what he has going for him. I know, what is it? 3 C's, 3 Legacies? Or
Yeah.
something?
Mm-hmm.
Put out and, oh my God, can we talk about his promos? Can we talk about that beautiful cathedral that he cuts promos in front of? Like, this man puts some effort into his promos. Mad respect.
More promos.
He's not gonna be sad when he hears me say nice things about him. That's gonna be weird.
He put the mad face on my Facebook video, just so you know. But we're talking nice things about you. But
oh my God, so what's even funnier is I was watching an NFW match the other day, and there's literally somebody in the front row with the sad Mike emoticon shirt, and I'm like, there's another one. Let's go into movement. Make Mike sad.
I can't. So shout out to
glad Mike in 2025.
Yeah, Mike doesn't. Mike should be out there more. I really feel that as much as I bust his chops, I love Mike, and I feel like he deserves so much more attention. And you know, every year I freaking say this all the time. Promo. Get on it because we get invested with the freaking promos. I am obsessed with promos. So
I get exactly. I am a very big like there's nothing better than just a solid promo that really gets you to listen.
Yeah.
Because anybody in the world can do the ABC, here's where it is, here's when it is, here's who it's against, catchphrase, close.
Yeah.
But if even if it's a one-off match,
right?
Like you guys never wrestled or something, even if you just create a reason why this match is important, it's gonna matter that much more. Why is this match important to you?
Yeah.
Why is wrestling this person going to elevate the promotion or
Yeah.
you or whatever angle you're currently in that this is a stop for.
Right.
Because like that way, because I shouted about earlier Riley O'Neal of the Collective. The first time I ever even saw anything of him was a promo before I ever saw him wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
And from that moment, I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know what his tag thing is. I don't know what his program is. But this dude just sold me on everything he just said.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my first opportunity. Like, I started talking to Todd because I posted a promo for somebody. And it's one of those things where if you
Dustin.
sell
It was Dustin.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
Dustin.
because I sponsored him on one of the shows
Yeah.
and I couldn't go because I was at Rad Pro. So I like cut a promo for him as I did for other people that I had sponsored in the past. And when he saw that, it's what got me noticed.
Yeah.
But that's the whole idea is people are going to take notice if you give them a reason to notice you.
Yeah.
If you're willing to, even if it's something simple, you don't have to be like Bobby and Dante, where you have these which I mean, I love them for it. They probably have some of my favorite promos because they're so outlandish and such a unique concept that you would never even suspect be a wrestling promo.
Yeah.
But even if it's something that just gets me to relate to you more, it's going to make me want to pay more attention to your match. And if you're making me want to pay attention to your match, any average person who sees it is more than likely to want to see you perform and actually take the chance to look at you as more than whatever somebody just advertises you as. Because we all know sometimes people aren't billed as all that they are, and some are, you know, maybe put a little more shine on than they deserve.
Right.
You know, but if you yourself sell yourself, then nobody can question.
Right. It's true. Let me get to this question from Conrad. He goes, I have a question for major promotion. Will AEW adopt their own ID type of program? And also, do you feel this program helps or hurts the independent wrestling? This is a major like question that, you know, I feel like that a bunch of us have sat and talked about because everybody's got like different views on it. And, you know, some people, like, we've had the conversation that it's good because like it's putting more notice on the wrestlers, you know, like, okay, like now, like Bryce Donovan we're talking about, you know, like, so it's like, okay, like here's Bryce Donovan, he got like ID'd, you know, and stuff like that. So now what's happening is like a lot of these guys, they're getting like booked all over the place. Like I just flipped over to X and I saw Marcus Matters just made his debut at Defy and he called out Nick Wayne or whatever like that. So like now like Marcus is getting booked at like places that maybe he hasn't like popped into yet, you know, which is great, you know. So it's like, then it's like, okay, is it also hurting the independent scene? Because now maybe all these guys are getting booked because they're trying to get them booked now before they get snatched with like WWE. So maybe it's taking a spot from somebody else, maybe, I guess, right? Like, but, you know, they're getting the notice, you know, and you know, that's, so I guess it's really like how you fold it, right?
Yeah. Like here's my look at it, right? Is I think because of the way he posed the question.
Right.
In terms of WWE ID program, everything is still up in the air about that as to what it fully entails. But as of right now, from what you can tell, the people who are ID'd are still wrestling on the indies.
Right.
So it's not taking away from. Ultimately, at the end of the day, any wrestler's goal is to get signed.
Yeah.
And people are getting signed all the time. You said it, like somebody like a Nick Wayne, just boom, gone. Like he's out there now.
Yeah.
But like the idea is that at any given time, somebody can move up there.
Right.
What this now is essentially like, if you think about it, not only are they helping the people that specifically get ID'd, but they're also partnering with the schools that are associated with the program. So now these schools are better equipped to train people. So when those guys get signed, when a Bryce Donovan and a Marcus Mathers get to debut on TV, these schools are already building people to cipher right into those positions.
Yeah.
If anything, I think it's going to help the independent scene in that sense, where now you're going to see more people from their schools becoming produced at a better rate to be able to subsequently fill those voids.
Right.
In terms of AEW developing one, I don't think it'd be so much a program as much as what they're already doing.
Yeah.
But I think it can be expanded upon, like with the Ring of Honor thing. I'm very biased towards Ring of Honor
Right.
because I, I deep go back with those three letters, and it makes me sad seeing kind of how it's treated in current day. But there is the glimmer of hope of like, okay, there are some decent storylines, like the pay per views are good, and it brings in the indie talent. It gives them that extra little platform.
Mm-hmm.
But they get there and they don't get to do anything because all they're there to do is just bump and feed for the people who are under contract.
Mm-hmm.
But if you took ROH and you made it, I guess you could say AEW's ID program, where like, okay, here are the indie wrestlers that we are interested in, that we're willing to maybe, put in the ring with some more experienced people, guys on our roster, and use that as like, instead of it being a 2-minute squash, let them actually develop a little bit. Have some, even if they're one-off matches, allow them to tell a story in those matches. Let them, even if, like, I'm not saying they're going to overshadow the people who are obviously under contract, but again, let them do something. And that way now they are also getting that extra bit of something back from being on AEW rather than just getting to do the security spot or getting paid the couple bucks to eat a kick to the face and lose.
Right.
Like there's a benefit, there's a growth factor. Especially if, all right, you got people like Christopher Daniels, you have Jerry Lynn, like great minds of the business who are like producers at those types of tapings, where like, all right, if you roster of guys that are like the Ring of Honor like gates, where it's like, all right, these are the guys that we're gonna put in with the young prospects to test them, to see if you can pump a good match out of them. That's a lot better of a way than just trying to carbon copy what WWE is doing. Because not only that, I mean, unless they're gonna open a facility in Jacksonville with the like tied to the Jaguars, I don't see it being like a training like thing to expand as like that.
Yeah.
But there is potential there, and I think but again, like we harped before, I don't think it's gonna hurt the indies as much as if you do it in a way that respects who you're utilizing.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the WWE, like you said, it's allowing people to be exposed to other audiences, which allows them to work other people, grow their skills.
Right.
And so like now when they get shot up, now there's people ready to go. Same thing with the AEW concept.
It's crazy because that was like one of the whole reasons why I got on board years ago, whatever, with AEW, was because, it was giving me the concept of like Ring of Honor, of like back then, that it was just kind of like a super indie promotion. Yeah. And that's what got me so sold with AEW when I started doing all the AEW stuff, and I'm not knocking, the mainstream stuff or whatever like that. I always said this through all the years, whatever, like I don't watch the mainstream anymore. And there's a lot of wonderful, talented, talent out there and stuff. Like, I'm not knocking that. Like, I've always been a Seth Rollins girl. It was like AJ Styles and stuff like that. And like, Ricochet's amazing. Like, Johnny Gargano, like, these are all names, like whatever, but like a lot of them is like, like I remember in like the indies and stuff like that. But I think what happened is what AEW with me was it started pushing more. It started taking away from the indie talent from me that I was getting so like hyped. Like Private Party got signed and I was always a supporter of Private Party. Those are the boys, and like congrats to them. Like they are, the AEW tag team champions, and that's amazing for someone like me who watched them in House of Glory all the time, and here and other promotions that they used to go to, so that's like a big moment. But then they started bringing like all like the freaking like the WWEs, they started letting everybody go, and then AEW started like bringing them into AEW, and I think that's what kind of turned me off a little bit with like AEW, because I felt like it overshadowed what it originally was. I was like, okay, now they're gonna build these indie guys into something big. That is like people that I've been supporting from the indies. Like I think it's amazing. Like Nick Wayne got like signed. Like, like how awesome is that? Is like I was supporting Nick Wayne for a while and popping for his bridges and everything like that. And like look at all the freaking storylines going on with him, going on with AEW and stuff like that. That's so awesome.
And even if we're gonna shout out a couple people in that vein, Bulk Bronson.
Mm-hmm.
Even though like he he may not be the best win-loss record guy in AEW, but he's always entertaining.
Yeah.
He's the Savage Sauce shtick, and it's just wicked fun. Now, if you want somebody who's taken it a little more seriously, though, but Billy Stark, I had my knock about Ring of Honor, but she is one of the highlights of Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Is somebody like a Billy Stark who just got to main event the Hammerstein Ballroom against Athena.
Yeah.
And like have an absolutely killer match in that historic venue.
Right.
Like it's one of these things where like I won't lie, like I am critical of AEW sometimes. Like my friend gets like on my nerves. I get on his nerves sometimes. He'll be like why, like what is this? Like why, like there's so much more that could like be done in a way. But like it's not to say that they don't do good things, but it's just like you said, like it takes away from so many people that like could be organically made for you to kind of just put this guy in there.
Right.
But like that's not to say that they're like the worst thing ever, because like trust me, there's worse wrestling in the world.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of that or whatever like that. But I think that's cool. Like I was actually me and Conrad were talking about it before in Messenger, and I was talking about like Billy Starks and Nick Wayne, and it's kind of cool because like years ago GCW ran in Hammerstein, and I went for that show, and they couldn't wrestle for it because in New York there's a law that you have to be 18 years old, and they weren't 18 yet. And I remember like I was, you know, like I went to go, you know, BS with Nick and his mom and stuff like that. And this was kind of like right after like he came on like one of the podcasts and stuff. And like I felt like bad, you know, because like this was something that he wanted. So just the thought of that I was like, you know, here are these two that like, you know, been on the podcast, like, you know, Billy Stark's been on here when she was like 16, and to like see where she's at now, and like you said, like main event at Hammerstein where she couldn't do that a couple years ago, and then have that moment, you know, that's what I thrive for so much with the indies. Is I love following from the beginning and watching the journey. And like I know that like, you know, like I don't watch the mainstream, but I still kind of keep tabs with obviously the people that like I've been supporting from the beginning and everything like that. And it's like main event, like Midas and Jay Lydon and everything like that. Like we've had that conversation of how, you know, these are two guys that I've supported from the very beginning. So to watch where, you know, nobody really like knew them, you know, to like watch where they are now. And he said it's different, you know, when you have like a fan that's been with you from the beginning, you know, and watching you through the journey, you know. So that's why I do these interviews, and you know, this is why I'm so obsessed with the independent scene. You know, there's a lot of great talent out there, and in the future I'm sure that, you know, within years there's still going to be so much more and younger talent, and you know, we don't even know what we're going to get in the future and stuff. And just the stuff that we have now, look at all the people that will get signed within probably the next couple of months and stuff like that. Like I'm sure we'll start seeing these guys on like the WWE ID guys on NXT soon, eventually.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's just amazing. So this is why.
And I also really like that is if we spinning back to the ID thing a little bit. I really like how like actively social the ID like account is, where they're really like highlighting the journey, and it's allowing you to like really get to know, like, because again, I don't know everybody who's been ID. I obviously know a lot of people who I've seen. Sean Legacy I know through watching Action, but there are plenty of people who like are from, because again, the ID program spans all over the country.
Yeah.
So they're doing this in a way where, again, they are putting these people in front of you as much as they physically can, and they're taking you on the ride with them.
Yeah.
So when they get to NXT, now it's not just, oh, here's a guy who's going to lose 6 seconds to established person.
Yeah,
now this is somebody who has been, like, I've taken this journey with them. It's like tough enough, but social media made, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
you know?
It's true. That was one of the things that I loved about AEW, right? Because they were making those packages in the beginning. Because I know, like, Conrad's been supporting when I was doing the All Elite podcast and everything like that. And, you know, when I started doing that, and we were kind of just, like, randomly doing episodes or whatever, like that would big news that would drop for like AEW and stuff like that. And one of the most important things to me was those video packages. And again, like these were people that like I didn't know from like the indies, like Private Party, but they were making these videos and stuff like that to kind of like introduce you. Like if you didn't know who these guys were, like you're like, okay, now I'm getting invested because I'm watching these videos and stuff like that. You know, like I just saw like the Private Party video and I was like watching, I was all happy like that they were in New York and they were like, we're back New York, you know. And like that was a cool moment for me to like watch that, because like I was like, God, this is crazy. Like, you know, like here's the guys like when nobody really knew them, and like here they are, they AEW tag team champions and stuff like that. They just do these really cool videos walking through Times Square and the trains and stuff like that. So you're right with like the WWE ID things. You know, it's really cool to see. So, you know, big things for them, and I'm sure they're already planning for like what's next. And there's a lot out there that's like well deserved. I think TJ Crawford is one that definitely should be ID'd. I've been on TJ train for years, and I'm kind of a little bent that like he hasn't been swooped yet.
I have watched him go from a beach bum to the biggest bread of the biggest of businesses.
Yeah.
That man like is it.
Yeah. It's crazy. Totally crazy.
I respect Doug too, because like Doug is one like with the promos and stuff where he's just, it's such a unique thing. Like when they did the announcement for Gabby and Brunson, like them doing like the love note therapy session kind of thing, and like it's the little things that just add up that like these guys are just, they're putting in the work, and like now is the time. Like, and Todd, he's even put it best. Like, now's the time that you really want to market yourself and having like electronic kit, as he likes to call it, you know, just that file that somebody can click open and here is everything you need to know about me. Here's the highlight package. Here's my this, that. Here's a reference map. Here's my promo pics.
Make the reels.
Minute promo.
Yo, make the reels. I'm telling you, I can't begin to tell you how many times that I've come across reels because maybe like a wrestler shared it, like of somebody else that I had no idea. I remember like me and Trayvon, I don't remember who it was, but it was somebody down south. I can't remember. This was a couple years ago, whatever, like that. And Trayvon shared something, and I watched the reel. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, and then he's like, Tiff, this is right up your alley. He was like, I'm telling you. He was like, this guy, you know, was like, so do the reels. There's plenty of guys out there on social media. Like Frankie from Fight Life is one who's always posting out there that he will always do like extra work. So if like you need a reel, Frankie is your guy. There's a whole shitload of people, you know, do the promos, you know, like I get it. Like I'm just a podcaster and stuff like that. But I think I've been around enough wrestlers and done a lot of podcasts that I've learned so much. And like between talking to promoters and, you know, talking to wrestlers and like behind the scenes and stuff like that, like I kind of, you know, have a lot of big knowledge of the indie scene and stuff like that and what they're looking for. You should be posting on social media. You should be putting out promos. I mean, that's my biggest thing. Like, I love fucking promos. I talk about it all the time. It's one of my biggest things. Put out the promos. This is how you're going to get better. Take the damn mic. Give a reason for why the promotion should be giving you a mic. Market yourself, right? Doesn't Holiday always say that? Like, you have to market yourself?
Yes. Yes, he does. Very much so.
Because he is most marketable.
Look at somebody like him. This whole give me my flowers thing, he takes any and every chance he can to say that. He puts it on social media everywhere. And he's like, again, he's making his little sketches that all end in the same way of giving him his flowers. It's the whole reason whatever he was doing. Like and that's how he gets to go to Reality of Wrestling, where Booker T is the head booker over there. No pun intended. But like it's stuff like that where like again, if you've got enough about you, somebody will take notice if you're putting it there enough.
Hey, Ryan Peterson's in the chat. He's got you covered. Ring announcer. He's all over the place. Shout out to you. He said hi. So we're sitting here, we're giving like advice, and I feel like maybe I'm sure probably people shit on me and probably like Tiffany has no business giving freaking advice or whatever like that.
But it's also a matter of like, okay, look at somebody like Brutal Bob Evans, right?
Yeah.
Like, well respected veteran. This dude is out here on his Facebook the entirety of this month giving away free tips.
Yeah.
A tip a day of how you can be a better independent wrestler.
Yeah.
Like somebody, regardless of who it is,
Yeah.
especially because, like, again, you are somebody who's been around the business a long time. I'm a literal nobody, but like, again, I can sit here and I've been in these circles and in these locker rooms and all that. Like, I've been told these things. I've been to seminars that stuff has been heavily impounded into me, which, again, another big thing is seminars. Guys who are literally willing to sit with you and critique your matches,
Yeah.
critique your promos,
Take advantage of it.
cut better promos. Take advantage of things because there are people out there who are willing to help you. Take advantage of any and all advice you can get. Listen to anybody who may be able to push you in a better direction. And obviously, if you talk to the right people, okay, there you go. There's your opportunities. There's your strings that you can grasp onto. But you've got to be able to do those things and take the criticisms and
Yep.
be able to look yourself in the mirror and be like, all right, what am I doing? What am I not doing? How can I correct whatever I'm doing poorly? It's the little things that, again, will add up and make you a better performer at the end of the day.
Yeah. Network. Man, we got over 90 people in this chat. This is amazing. Like, I can't. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys. You know, it'd be quite cool. Share the stream. Maybe we could get to 100. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, you know, like I will sit. And I know like everybody has like their mixed bag of stuff or whatever like that. I still feel like I'm nobody, right? I'm just a girl who loves fucking wrestling or whatever like that, loves the independent scene. Just trying if I can get like one person to get on board with like one wrestler or promotion or whatever like that, then I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the messages that I get from wrestlers, the messages that I get from promoters and stuff like that, like it really means a lot. Like I'm very, very humble when it comes to this, you know, and you know, like, so when stuff is said to me, like it means the world to me because I still feel like I have no influence. And like people will say, like, obviously you have such power in the independent scene that wrestlers want to be on your list of husbands. Wrestlers want to do shooting star press. Wrestlers want to do choke slams and bridges on toes for me and stuff like that. It's crazy, you know? So, but like I'll sit in my bubble. You know, I remember I talked to Bronson about this one day and I said, I feel like I'm in between. I'm not in wrestling. I was like, I think my foot's in the door, like cracked or whatever like that. And he was like, that's the best place to be, he said to me.
Right?
So what?
No, I was saying, yeah, no, right?
It really is just a little, you know.
He's not wrong, really. Like, being just right there is just enough. And there's a lot of people, like, because, like, again, you're somebody who, like, you talk to promoters, you talk to a lot of people, you know a lot of the ins and outs of how stuff works, how it gets produced and booked and yada, yada. But it's also a level of, like, there are some people who are in a position like you who can't still enjoy it as a fan.
Yeah.
They don't have the love for it. It's just a meticulous thing. It becomes tedious to them. It becomes another day. But you're somebody who can still find the innocence and the pure joy of it at the end of the day without losing. Like, you can get all the insider knowledge in the world.
Damn airplane.
Huh?
The airplane.
What the heck was going on? I'm like, dude, did I like click something?
I live in New York City. Okay, I live in New York City. Like, you know, you're gonna hear planes. I'm literally right by JFK, so you're gonna hear planes.
No, that's okay.
I have the windows open too, so that's my fault. I should have closed it and put the air conditioner on, so that's my fault. Yeah. So welcome to New York City, guys. But yeah, no, it's crazy. Like I said, I still stay in my place. I will stay in my humble mode and stuff like that. But I am well respected enough that promoters will actually look into wrestlers that I recommend. I know a lot of people kind of said that, like, I have a really, I mean, Zach says it, but when promoters start saying it and stuff like that, that's kind of cool when they start looking up wrestlers that I recommend and, like, you know, maybe they'll book them because I said so. And plenty of promoters have booked wrestlers for me. You know, so I've gone to those shows because they book certain wrestlers for me, which is amazing. So I guess I should shut up, right? But I still live in my humble bubble. So it's like, I don't ever want to get like a big head with it.
And it's the best way to be. It's honestly the best way to be. Like, I'll never sit here and try to claim that, like, I know jack anything.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and try to make myself out to be the greatest thing in the world, because I literally am not. I am just literally guy who is here.
Yeah.
But, you know what? I will always, you know, appreciate everything that comes my way. And
Yeah.
I'll appreciate everything that these people continue to sacrifice and put their bodies on the line to give to the people of the world. Because, like,
Yeah.
that's, again, like we were talking about earlier, like, wrestling is really that thing where, like, at its core, it really is something that can bring people together. And it is just, it's simple as that.
Well, look at that. Look at me and Zach, right? Like, so, you know, me and Zach met. I came up to, you know, Massachusetts, and that's how, like, kind of like me and Zach started hanging out. So it's kind of nice. So it's like, here's the girl who's in New York who would constantly drive by herself to come support promotions that she wanted to see in Massachusetts. And that's how me and Zach started talking. You know, and I made, like, that's one thing. It's like a lot of places that I've gone to, I've gone by myself, but I've made so many friends through, like, the podcasts and, you know, showing up at promotions, and they're like, oh, you're from New York or whatever like that. And it's like, oh, wow, you drove all these hours to, like, Massachusetts, you know, Maine or, like, Rhode Island or wherever, Pennsylvania, you know, like, wherever it is. And it's like, I make friends. So it's like, you're never alone, because you'll always meet people because you have that in common and everything like that, you know. As for, like, the talent, I was just like, you know, we were talking to, you know, you're talking about all that, and I'm thinking about, like, Dante, you know, at the last Chaotic show, like, I was sitting at the table and I was helping Dante with merch, you know, and it was like, I just wanted to do that for him or whatever like that. It was funny because we were arguing because Dante wanted to give me money for it. I'm like, no, like, I want you to make money. Like, you know, I'm helping you because you're my friend, you know, like, I want to do this for you. So I'm sitting there struggling, like, going, selling shirts for him. And, like, it was just so funny, like, just like, oh, okay. And, like, people will know me and they'll be like, oh, Tiffany's helping you. Okay, I got to buy this or whatever. You know, like, it was really fun.
I bought from wrestlers because Tiffany made it for them.
A lot of them do that because, like, they'll send me stuff, and, like, you know, that's the cool thing too, is, like, I make, you know, the lighters and, like, stickers, or, like, I made, like, glasses and stuff like that. Like, I made it was this year I made a mug for Phil Cardigan. And I made it kind of like a Starbucks logo or whatever like that. And I put Phil Cardigan on it. And he came out at one of the shows with it. And I marked out because it's just like the littlest thing there, like nothing. It's just like something of like an appreciation that I do for something, like the cape that I did for Fluffman or whatever like that. And for that instant moment of, like, it's something that could be so silly or a stupid joke between me and that wrestler, and them coming out and doing that for me, like Kylon King. Remember, like, you were with me when Kylon wore the Indie Wrestling Corner shirt. I cried because it was, like, the first wrestler that actually came out in his entrance to wear my logo. And it just meant the world to me. You know, it's just the littlest things, you know, like, look at Sad Mike, right? Like the freaking sad face or whatever like that that I created as a spoof. Or, like, how many times have, like, you wore it in front of, like, Mike just to mess with him, you know? And even Brad's done it too.
Just hated wearing it on commentary one time.
Damn.
Just throw the suit coat on over it.
It's so crazy. But nah, it's fun. I can't, like, again, like, I love the indies, you know. I can't, everybody, you know, I want everybody to know that everybody's important when it comes to, like, everything that's put together. And again, like, someone like me and Zach know more of what's entailed for a show over a regular fan, because it's like, Zach is one, like, he helps put the rings up and stuff like that. Like, I've been in the building where I've seen nobody there, and then the truck comes in, and then watching everybody put everything together, and the chairs and the wrestlers come in to, like, help out and stuff like that. So it's like, not only is, like, you know, everybody that's putting everything together, and then you have the promoters running around like a chicken with their head cut off to make sure that everything's perfect, or this one called out, or this one's stuck in traffic, and watching that stuff, and, you know, commentary going around, running around like, okay, what is your finisher, or what is this, whatever, you know, and the ring announcers, and, you know, audio. It's a whole freaking thing. Like, you guys don't understand like how much goes in for a show, you know, and like maybe you're lucky that you do know, but holy crap. So, you know, the wrestlers, the people behind the scenes, the promoters, everything, like, I can't thank you enough for everything that you do for us to entertain us. So, you know, I can't stress that enough. Like, I don't know if you want to like put any 2 cents into that, but Jesus, like, it's a lot.
It's like you said, because there are a lot of the unsung heroes, you know, like the referees, the audio person, the camera workers, you know,
The editors.
There's so many people who just don't get that credit, and they absolutely deserve it. Because again, it takes a village to make wrestling happen.
Yeah.
And again, it's not just happening in one little section of the world. Like, this is happening everywhere.
Yeah.
Every weekend. Hell, you look at some places like a Wrestling Open that run on a Thursday night. Some places that'll run on a whatever day. They do whatever they want. But this is happening all the time, everywhere. All these many moving pieces. And, like, it speaks to, like, your wrestling with positivities and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's like, it's all these people who come together to make this work. And it really is just, it's as simple as that. And it's really like, you got to just give everybody that respect, you know, even if it's just a saying hi and thanking them for whatever they did at that show. The concessions person, for Pete's sake, you know, the ticket person, whoever it may be. Like, there's so many people that don't get the credit that they deserve. And maybe 2025 will be the next step in the right direction for that, you know, because I think a lot of it has gotten better, but it could be a lot better. And it takes a village to make wrestling happen. And it's grateful to have some of the villages that we do. Definitely.
Here's the award for you.
Here's to everybody. Here you go, guys.
So we give you, you know, some claps, you know. Thank you for everything that you do for us in the independent world, you know, and, you know, here's to 2025, right?
Here's some more great gosh darn wrestling, because there's a lot of people willing to give it to us. So now it's just a matter of, where is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? Who's going to be the freaking next big thing?
Right. It's crazy. I don't know. Like I said, I can't wait to see, you know, what else, you know, like maybe we'll get some new promotions next year, you know, like,
maybe,
you know, we don't know. Maybe some people from WWE leave and come back into like the indies. I mean, look, Dijak is someone who's trainer at NEPA, you know, right now, which is pretty awesome. You know, like we have a lot of that, like Anthony Green, like, you know, like he'll go to Japan and stuff like that. And then he goes and helps and like trains here randomly and stuff like that too, you know, so, who knows what 2025 is going to bring. So yeah, anything else you want to like throw in before we wrap up?
I guess I'll just throw one more plug to my upcoming next commentary appearance and the next show that I'll be a part of, which is January 18th in Peabody, Massachusetts at the Black Box, the Proving Ground Up 5, featuring Stephen Lust, Sammy Diaz, Landon Hale, Limitless Dojo prospect, Jason Maverick, one of our hot guys, Joey Warner. Tickets are still available, general admission only right now. Front row did get sold out. Obviously, continue to support your local independent. Subscribe to Indie Wrestling Corner YouTube, all that good stuff. You know, follow me if you'd like.
Follow Zach. His link's in the description.
Yeah.
Follow that guy in the Zach Attack.
And yeah, here's to a great 2025.
Yes. So like I said before, next Sunday, Desmond Cole is coming on. So that's happening. Chris Brady's coming on the week after. So I have some other stuff like up my sleeve. We'll see what happens. Maybe I know I'm due probably for another Wrestling with Positivity. I had a really rough year, so I probably need some positivity with everything that happened this year. Because I know that's like a big Thanksgiving thing that I like to do, but I had a lot of stuff going on. So hopefully maybe like when things like finally calm down, maybe I could do another Wrestling with Positivity. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested. Like, I love that. That's very, near and dear to me on the Indie Wrestling Corner and stuff like that. Hopefully, like I said, I could do a lot more interviews because I'm kind of like sad how this year kind of like turned out for the channel. So I'm sorry about that, but I've been trying to still promote even though everything bad that happened this year. So I tried my best to do as much content as I could, even with everything going on. So, but you guys see, like, I'm in a better place right now.
We
so.
appreciate you for it, Tiffany.
I can't. I think I need like a new intro where I have Bobby just screaming. I think I could probably make a video of Bobby just screaming Queen of the Indies at me all the time. Between the fact of him doing it on his YouTube channel, have him
have like a custom. You gotta have it like a custom intro, like, "Hi, this is Bobby Orlando, and you're watching Queen of the Indies on Indie Wrestling."
Every time I come into his YouTube chat, he goes, oh, he's like, what? He's like, I had to make a sign that says Queen of the Indies, and I put it over my podcast and table and everything like that. So now it's like set, it's permanent. Like, I guess I need a new Queen of the Indies logo going on or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If you guys got any recommendations, leave me comments or tweet at me or whatever it is. I appreciate everybody who's, submitted questions, like for the podcast this year or in the in the past and everything like that. Like, I appreciate everybody that's subscribed. I love you guys. The support from the promoters, the wrestlers, everybody, like, it means the world to me or whatever like that. I'm going to keep trucking along for you guys. Hopefully nothing bad happens. So, like, knock on wood or whatever. So, but yeah, so like, we've been rolling with like over 90 people listening today. So again, like, I appreciate all of you guys. Conrad's laughing at me. Yeah, Queen of the Indies. Yeah, we're gonna do that when we see Bobby next. Yeah, we're gonna tell him he's gonna do a custom for me. I was just like, I've had Private Party do stuff. I had Johnny Gargano do stuff for me. I had Proud and Powerful do stuff for me. Like, I there was a whole bunch of intros I remember one year. So maybe I need to like change things up this year. Maybe I should have a bunch of like wrestlers be like, oh, you're listening to the Indie Wrestling Corner or whatever, like change it up or something. So we'll see.
Yeah, and then have it segue into the song that will never leave my head.
Oh, the Dante song?
Oh, I mean, frick it, that worked too. I was talking about your intro graphic.
Oh, song. Darren. Shout out to Darren because, Darren's been with me since day one, and I continue to use his music. He is amazing, so make sure you're subscribed to Those Wolves. I love Darren. Always been like a massive supporter of me, so I appreciate him, and I appreciate all his music. And like, that was cool too, because like MJF liked his music as well, and that was like a whole thing going on too that was played at AEW and stuff like that. So again, like, there's so many people, as a whole, when it comes to like everything. So I appreciate all you guys. So yeah. So with that being said, stay safe, support independent wrestling, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Because of that day, like,